Okay, so let's start standing. We'll bring our hands together, feet together. And we'll just take a few breaths here. Try to feel your ribs expand laterally. Not only the chest lifting up, so the sides of your ribs expand out, the back of your ribs expand back. So that you're really taking advantage of the full potential. On your next exhale, whenever that is, just lower the arms. Let's reach up on an inhale, look up. Exhale to fold forward. Bend the knees if you need to. Inhale halfway up. And we'll just step to plank for the exhale. Stay in plank for the inhale. We'll try to push through the inside of the hand. We'll press the downward dog for the exhale. Return to plank for the inhale. Our heels will be over the balls of the feet. And exhale, downward dog. Push the heels down just as far as they go, comfortably. Just take 2 more breaths like this. Inhale to plank. And exhale to push back. One more time. This will just help warm up the shoulders and the backs of the legs, the hands. Links your breath with your movement very easily. Let's start to walk the feet forward toward the hands. When you get close, inhale. Fold, exhale. Bend into the knees. Inhale to reach the arms up. And let's lower the fingertips so they're under the hips, near the feet. You'll have to bend your knees deeper to make that happen. Because sometimes we think we're in like a deep Utthita Hasta, and then we do some little drill like this, and we realize, oh, the floor is actually very far away. So let's just bend the knees to that deeper place and squeeze the thighs together. On your next exhale, straighten the legs, fold. Inhale halfway up. Let's step to plank again for the exhale. Knees up or down, inhale. We'll come to the belly for the exhale. And coming to the knees first might help you to get to the belly comfortably. Let's prop up on the forearms. Sphinx pose. Roll the shoulders back and grip the ground with your fingertips so you can pull your chest through. And we'll just stay here for a few breaths. Try to find that breathing again that you can feel expand you in all directions. But sometimes if we go into a position that's not neutral, we lose track of the fact that we still have 4 sides. Take one more breath here. Let's release the head down to the floor, slide the hands back by the chest, and push to plank with knees up or down, and to downward dog with straight legs. Two more breaths here in dog. Let's start walking the feet forward toward the hand. When you get close, straighten the legs, inhale. Fold, exhale. Let's find our Ustrasana again. So feet together, knees together. That'll help you find the midline. And this time, let's bring the arms to cactus. Press the knuckles back and try to sit low again, like you did when we touched the floor. Just that now the hands are not really helping find that spot. Keep pressing the legs together. You'll be able to go another inch or so down. One more breath. On your next exhale, fold straight legs. Halfway up for the inhale. We'll step to plank, exhale. This time, let's place the knees down and then the forearms down. so that we're in a forearm plank. You can keep your knees down or lift them up. And try to keep your forearms parallel to each other here. That's going to require you dig your fingertips into the floor a bit. And the eye gaze here is mostly like between the wrists. If you let your head drop, you could see your legs. That might be helpful information to have. But normally you would just keep your neck neutral, kind of on the same path as the rest of your spine. Let's walk the feet in so it turns into down dog V. We'll try to keep the forearms exactly where they are. So we just move the feet. And just go in with the feet to a place where you can maintain your head off the ground. Try to feel your upper back muscles kind of wrap around the side of it. Breathe into that. That'll help you become a pointier V shape. Your chest will get a little closer to the legs. Okay, let's straighten the arms. Find a normal downward dog again. Start to walk feet to hands. When they're close, inhale. And fold, exhale. Again, Utthita. This time we're going to take it to the ground. So easiest will be if you reach forward. Then when you bend your knees, your arms will counterbalance your butt. And as long as you have no knee problems, you could just lower your butt down like that. We'll bring the hands behind us, forearms parallel to each other. I have to roll up my sleeves because there's so much wiggling in my shirt. And notice it's tempting to just kind of slouch here, drop the chest. Instead, lift the chest as you would for Vajrasana, and then lift the legs. So it's this weird little arch position for your chest. Just take one more breath here. We'll keep that right leg where it is and lower the left leg so it just hovers maybe 6 inches or 3 inches above the ground. Just resist the urge to slouch through your shoulders and chest. Lift that leg up again and lower the other. Take one more breath. Let's bring that leg up again. Just bend the knees and let's come down to our back. So just walk the arms out of the way. Okay, so we'll keep the left leg on the ground and let's just lift the right leg up and notice how your spine is on the floor. It's just nice and neutral. You can have like a little fingertip kind of come around the waistline. Let's keep that and start to draw a tiny little circle with the right toes on the ceiling. And as you're drawing the circle, notice the tendency to rock left to right. Try not to rock. Potentially you have to make your circle smaller. Draw your belly in toward your spine so you have something to anchor you. Go the other direction with your circle. The more comfortable you are with this, or the more times you've done this, the bigger your circle could be. But be still is more important than be big in your movement. Okay, let's change legs. So lower the right foot, lift the left. Draw the belly in. Notice how still you are when you're not moving. And then try moving that top leg in a little circle. I find it easier if I push my fingers gently into my lowest ribs or the hip bone, just to help stabilize those places. Let's go the other direction. Later, when we go to Utthita Hasta Padangustasana, everyone thinks of that pose as like a leg thing, but it's actually quite a lot of core also. Okay, let's release that leg down And we'll just rock and roll up to sitting. You can hold your shins, you can hold the back of your legs. Actually, instead of sitting, we'll take it one step further. Let's go through a vinyasa. So when you're on your butt, you can just release your hands, cross your legs, and step back. Okay, from down dog, let's lift the right leg up high, stack the hip. So it feels like your right foot is roughly like over your hips. And lower to the left elbow and slide that elbow back a little bit so that you actually can anchor the elbow while keeping your right hand where it was, right arm straight. So we have a straight line between right hand and foot. Take one more breath, lift the right leg higher. And on your next exhale, step the right foot forward. Your left elbow will just pop up, not a big deal. We'll hold opposite elbows, come into a high lunge. Let's gently lower the back knee, maybe halfway to the floor, and straighten it again. 2 more times like that. And as your knee bends, you're going to feel your tailbone drop. As your leg straightens, you might go into a pretty big back bend. Try to control it so it's not too much back bend, so it's a little more stretch in the front of the leg. That will get easier as you get warmer. Let's release the hands down and just step to downward dog. We'll lift the left leg up high, stack the hip. When you're ready, lower the right elbow. That right hand can slide back a couple inches, or you can move the left hand forward in order to straighten the left arm. Lift the left leg higher, hello outer glutes. Let's step forward to the hand for our lunge. So all 10 toes will face front. We'll hold opposite elbows, pull the elbows back, and we'll bend the back knee a few inches and re-straighten. 2 more times. I like to exaggerate the reaching up through the right elbow since the right leg is back. It just is a little more oomph. Okay, after your third one, place the hand and step back downward dog or vinyasa. We will meet back together in a moment. Okay, heaven and earth again, left elbow down, right leg up. Right arm straight. So there's a bit of an opening here to the right side. Your hips won't be square here. Take advantage of that. Get the right leg higher, get the right leg straighter. After your last breath here, it will be easiest if you use the exhale to step forward, but you can also go after your exhale when you're empty of breath to step forward. Let's rise up to warrior one with our fingers interlaced behind us. So warrior one, legs with this interlaced grip. Take a few breaths and try to breathe in all directions. Let's slowly release hands down. Step back, downward dog, and find your heaven and earth side to right elbow down, left leg up. And that right forearm is just going to be parallel to the edge of your mat. So it's as if you were in your Pincha mayurasana arm on the right side, or your down dog B arm on the right side. Left leg a little higher, and decide what your breath pace should be for the stepping forward, either on the exhale or after the exhale. And we'll meet in warrior one legs. We have a heel to heel alignment, fingers interlaced. Try to go the way that feels a little goofy, so the other thumb is on top this time. Okay, and let's release the hand. Vinyasa or downward dog. We'll come together in a few seconds. Okay, right foot between the hands. Let's just come to fingertips. We'll straighten the front leg as much as we can for an inhale. Bend again for an exhale. Two more times like that. Press the ball of your foot down. Okay, the next time that your knee is bent, spin your back heel to the floor and turn it into triangle by again straightening your front leg. Left hand could be on the hips, the ribs, it could be up, it could be over the ear, it could be behind your back in a half bind, whatever you want to do. Emphasize getting that right armpit away from the hip, so you're long on that bottom side of your body. Okay, let's release our left hand down. Place the palms flat. Find your three-legged downward dog. That right leg will just lift up again. And let's lower to the left elbow. Feel free to stay here. Or we're going to try that goofy headstand that we've done a few times in the past. So to get there, our left hand would cradle our head. So the pinky edge of the left hand on the floor. The right hand is going to slide back so it's level with the left elbow. Then I'll place the head and I'll just lift that right leg higher until at some point the left leg can lift. So the right arm is in a tripod headstand and the left arm is in the more normal headstand where we would sometimes interlace our fingers. This really is controlled by how steady are you with your foundation and how strong are you with your right leg. Good. And start to come on down. And just make your way to a normal downward dog. There's not really a graceful way to do that. Step the left foot forward to the hands. Come on to fingertips just to give you a little extra space so that you can straighten your left leg a little bit more. And we'll exhale to bend it again. You could also have your hands on blocks. That would be the same kind of concept. I just don't have blocks handy. My cats like to destroy the blocks if I bring them out. So I just come to fingertips instead. Okay, the next time your left knee is bent, lower the right heel and re-straighten the left leg, triangle. Decisions to make would be, where does your left hand go? Where does your right arm go? Two more breaths. Okay, and we'll slowly unravel ourselves. We'll lower the palms flat and lift that left leg up to the sky. So this left leg is really what's going to help get us up into this goofy headstand. And you can always come to normal headstand if you prefer. So right elbow down, right hand cradles the head. So I'm pushing into the right pinky finger quite a bit. Left hand is in line with the right elbow. And then as I want to come up, that left leg is going to reach for the ceiling. And it's that strengthened left leg that will allow you to eventually actually get up. And Miss Carol, practice squeezing your legs together here so that when you go to something like Pincha, it's more on cue. Good. And let's make our way down however you can. we'll just meet in downward dog. Shake out your head if you need to. Pedal out the feet if you need to. So, right foot forward. Lower the back heel and let's put both hands on the big toe side of the foot. So the legs are like warrior two, our arms are like lizard. We are going to change this in a moment to a Parsvakonasana. But we'll have a bind option. So it's helpful to start like this if you want to bind, because your right shoulder and inside of knee are very close together. So let's start opening up the hips. We'll face the long edge of the mat. If you want a more traditional Parsvakonasana, you can extend your arm over your ear. Otherwise, reach your arm behind you. Try to get your knuckles to your right hip. Left knuckles to right hip. Use your right thumb to guide your right arm underneath the right leg so that your shoulder rolls in as you're reaching. And your right hand will go hold on to the left hand. Eventually, you'll hold on to the left wrist or forearm. Maybe you can look up. Try to breathe into all sides. Sometimes that right side, since it's kind of like smushed against your leg, it kind of cheats the breath. So breathe into the part of you that is smushed against your leg. There's more sustainability then. Okay, let's slowly get out of there. And just lower the back knee to the floor. So we're in Anjaneyasana. We'll straighten the front leg. So this is a half split. And keep this foot flexed, this leg straight. Just spiral the toes out to the right. So it's just the hip moving. And some of you, this is no problem. The edge of your foot is going to touch the ground. Some of us, it will be close, but not quite touching. Let's draw the chest about 1 inch or 3 inches closer to that right knee. Hello, IT band. Take one more breath. Okay, and we'll just bring it to normal again, either Vinyasa or downward dog. And then we get to do all of that on side two. Okay, left foot between the hands, right heel down. So we have that heel to arch alignment of warrior two. Both hands, big toe side of foot. And sometimes the flesh here of my hip and thigh get a little stuck. So I would come onto the fingertips, kind of move the knee out of the way, and then come down again. You might have to wiggle a bit to make that work. When you're ready, make a choice. Do you want right arm over the ear, or are you going for a bind? In which case, right arm behind the back, knuckles to hip. Left thumb guides your left arm under, and you'll be leaning forward in order to make this grip happen. Once you get the grip, lean back. Try to stack your right ribs on top of your left ribs. Without that aspect of leaning back, you'll be avoiding the hip stretch. 2 more breaths. And Janet, let's bend your front knee another 2 inches. Yeah. Good. Okay, let's unravel. We'll place the right knee down. That's Anjaneyasana. And straighten the left leg. This is half split, aka Ardha Chandrasana. And just spiral your hip so your left toes point to the left. Notice your tendency to kind of lean over there and avoid this stretch, but keep your torso where it was, which is just straight forward. There was no leaning. Try to flex that foot a little bit more. And for those of you who are runners, you should do this a little more often. Okay, let's slowly get out of there. Either Vinyasa or downward dog. Lower to the forearms, so it's down dog B. And we'll try to lift into a Pincha mayurasana with the left leg being the top leg. Then we'll scissor the legs in the air. So the left leg then lowers down first. And we'll try it with both sides. One side you'll like much more than the other. So remember how you lifted into your Goofy Headstand. Your top leg was really strong about reaching. So that's what we need to do here. Whichever leg is top needs to reach. And the thing that makes it tough, or one of the things, is that we're changing what that is once we're up there. I'm having trouble on the second side getting up. Whew. I don't know if this will work today. Hopefully it works for you. Because you lifted with your left leg once, and then you got to lift with your right leg once. Oh, not happening for me right now. Lisa, did you do both sides? Good. All right. We'll meet in downward dog. Let's step our right foot forward. Simple twist. Left hand down, right hand up. And we'll just try to lean back enough to get our right arm on top of the left arm. Let's draw the belly in. Walk the left hand closer to your right foot, so it actually maybe touches even, and then do the same thing, twist more. So with the belly in, you won't get stuck so much on your thigh. Take one more breath. And then we're just going to take it up one more notch. And that will be putting your left hand on the pinky toe side of your foot. So you'll have to kind of undo your arms in order to negotiate your left shoulder to be outside of the leg. And then it's the same idea of stacking. And notice how much harder the breath got when you put your hand on the pinky toe side of your foot. Okay, let's unravel. We'll lower the back knee to the floor, lower the left forearm to the floor, and reach for the back foot. We'll try to pull that heel into the butt, to the left sitting bone if you can. There's a bit of a twist, but it's a killer thigh stretch mostly. Unless you have really flexible thighs, and then maybe you don't feel it at all. Congrats to you, if that is you. I feel like my thigh is being ripped apart. Okay, let's slowly get out of there. And we'll just step back, Vinyasa if we choose. We're going to change sides. We'll step our left foot forward for a simple twist to start. So the right hand is just still on the right side of the mat, kind of where it was in your downward dog. And we just twist and try to stack the arms. We try to keep the knee over the ankle. Okay, we'll bring that right hand closer to the left foot. Twist again. And now we have this bit of a conundrum because our torso is kind of stuck on the thigh. So if you can bring your belly in more, that might be helpful. And make a choice. Do you want to stay there? Do you want a prayer twist? Or put your right hand down on the pinky toe side of the foot, which means we negotiate the flesh of the thigh and the flesh of the torso so that they have flipped locations. Okay, let's slowly come on down. Lower that back knee. Lower the right elbow. And reach for the foot. Left hand to right foot. If you can't quite reach, you can always grab a strap. We'll try to pull it in. Okay, slowly release. Vinyasa or downward dog. We're going to try to do that same Pincha mayurasana scissor thing that we did. I'm going to start on my hard side this time, just because if I need to take a few minutes to figure it out, that'll be worth it. So one leg will lift up, we'll scissor in the air, and then the other leg will take over. Good. So Carol, if you had the wall, I know you could do it. This is a mental game for you right now. Okay. So when you at least tried both sides, then just come into downward dog. It's okay if it didn't work. Trying it is still part of the practice. 99.8% of the practice is attempting things that don't really work. Okay, let's bring the right leg to pigeon. And we'll add a twist. If you know that you tend to roll onto your hip, put something underneath your right hip, because it's going to get a little trickier to maintain yourself when we add the twist. So we'll walk our hands to the left, or forearms to the left. And that might be enough right there. Or you can put your elbow or your shoulder near your foot or on the ground and twist from there with either your right arm staying straight, or you could do like a prayer thing with your elbows bent. And as you get a little deeper into wherever you're going, it's tempting to lift the left hip and roll onto the right. Try, even though your left ribs are moving up, move your left hip down. 2 more breaths. Okay, and we'll slowly get out of there. Let's rock to that hip. So if you had something there, just move it out of the way. Straighten the leg. And let's prop ourselves up on the hands as we come into somewhat of a Hanumanasana, but we're going to have our back knee up. So it's like Hanuman, but our hips are up. It's like a really long straight leg lunge with weight in the hands. As your hamstrings feel more comfortable, slide your right foot more forward, but keep your left knee off the ground. So the first thing that would touch the floor would be your pelvis instead of your back knee. And if we do it that way, sometimes we'll stay more square because we're less excited about getting to the floor, because we all want to be able to walk later. Okay, let's meet in downward dog. So we hoist our hips up, we slide that right foot back. Left leg for pigeon. Prop up however you need. And start to walk the forearms or hands over to the right. You could also keep your left arm as it is and bring your right hand to your right hip and sort of nudge it down. When we're in the same room as the teachers, they'll often roll the back leg for us in a rotation for us. Makes it a little easier. So go into your version of twist. You could keep thinking right hip to the floor as you lift your chest up. Okay. Slowly unravel. We'll extend the left leg out. Come onto the hands. Lift the right knee. And make a choice. Do you slide your left foot further forward at all? Engage the left quads. So in a moment, when we go to downward dog, Our hands are already placed, so we need to think about hoisting our hips. So let's harness the low belly strength, Mula Bandha in, Uddiyana Bandha in, and we'll slide that left foot back to meet our down dog pose. Okay. Bring the right foot forward. We'll just quarter turn to the left, Prasarita A. Hands between the feet, inhale, and fold on your exhale. Just take a few breaths here. Try to get your weight out of only the heels. It's tempting to just hang out back there somewhere. Distribute your weight. Okay, let's straighten the arms for an inhale. Hands to hips, exhale, and rise up, inhale. We'll turn the right foot to face front for Ardha Chandrasana. Reach out with the right hand, either to the floor or a block. Left hand either up or on your hip, or maybe behind your back to grab onto your right thigh. Kind of fun. Makes you maybe open a little bit more. Having a localized earthquake here on my mat. Okay, let's release the arm. If you had it wrapped, step back, we'll just rise up, and we'll just pivot over to the other side, bend into the left leg, reach with the left arm. Make a choice about your right arm. If you have a wall handy, you could press your right foot into the wall. That will help you balance. It also helps remind you to keep the leg strong. Okay, let's release the hand if it's back there. Step back, and let's pivot to face the long edge of the mat again for Prasarita C. We'll interlace the fingers behind the back. Inhale for straight arms, and fold forward. We'll try to bring the head to where it was before, when our hands were helping us. With each inhale, straighten your arms more, reach your knuckles away from you, and on your exhale, let your shoulders sort of relax and come down. Okay, next inhale, we'll rise up. And let's turn to face that front leg. This time for warrior 3. You can do hands to prayer in front of you, behind you. You can do a steeple mudra, whichever suits you. You can have hands on your hips. We're going to launch onto that right leg. Lift the left leg up and point the toes. Roll that left thigh in so you feel like your left hip is pointing down. Try to reach a little more with that left leg. Get it a little straighter. Good. Big step back or a little step, doesn't really matter. We're going to just pivot around and do the other side. Warrior 3. Lean with the chest. And you can think of yourself like a seesaw. And the lower your torso goes, the higher the leg goes. But we're not really trying to get our leg higher than hips. We're just trying to be like a T shape. Draw the belly in. Reach with the big toe of your right foot. Okay, let's step back. And we'll pivot again to face the long edge of the mat. Release whatever grip you had. Hands to the hips for an inhale. And fold forward, D position. Reach for the big toes. Inhale there, and fold, exhale. Roll the shoulders back. And let's create a nice relationship here between the fingers and the toe. So it should feel a bit like your hands are trying to rip your toe off your foot. But the toe is pushing down, so it's not going to go anywhere. There's a bit of that tension that will keep you in the pose. Let's inhale halfway up. Hands to the hips for an exhale. We'll come the rest of the way up. Inhale. Let's pivot to face front. We're going to adjust the feet for a twisted triangle. So heel to heel alignment, back foot at an angle. Left arm can come up for an inhale. And we'll reach out and down for an exhale. Wherever down is, maybe on the shin, maybe a block, or the floor either side of the foot. Stack your arms. Try to get your left shoulder over your left wrist. That's quite a feat. Let's push a little bit more into the ball of the right foot. Okay, and we'll unravel, and we'll just rise up and try the other side. So we just pivot on the feet. If when you pivoted, you got out of that alignment, just adjust. Then right arm up and out. We're trying to keep that right side body long so that when we twist, we can still breathe well. You don't want to just breathe to survive. Should feel pretty good. If you can, anchor through your right pointer finger knuckle more. That's going to help you get your wrist and shoulder aligned. Okay, let's slowly unravel. And we'll just rise up, step the feet together however you want. Okay. So this next little thing, I'm going to use this little cat condo. You could use your kitchen counter. You can just use the wall, pushing your foot into the wall. We're just going to prop our leg up. My cat is on the condo right now, so she's like, what the hell is going on here? So the kitchen counter works better than this, but it's not in the view of the camera, so that's why I'm using this. So once you're set up, whichever leg is on top is fine. We're going to bring our hands to our belly. I'm going to just walk over here to show you. We'll just kind of karate chop the side of our belly button. Right hand on right side, left hand on left side. And we'll apply a gentle pressure in and back. And we'll start to fold forward over our hands. And as you do this, you'll be drawing in and up with the belly, and you'll be bringing your head a little bit closer to your top leg. Let's start to rise up and just change sides. So when we go to the full pose in a little bit, like probably 10 minutes, we'll get there. We need this belly stuff to happen, but our arms will be occupied. So we just can practice here and it helps. So you can use your fingertips or your edge of hand, and you just sort of poke yourself in the gut. Sorry, Vicky, she doesn't like that. Poke yourself in the gut and create a rounded shape with your back. Good. Okay. And we'll slowly let that go. Sorry, Pippi. I'll never do it again to her. She doesn't like it. She said, I'm sleeping. Okay. So let's, you could ditch whatever you had your leg on. We're going to attempt that same thing, but holding the foot. So that makes it harder in two ways. You don't have your hands to poke in. And now your leg is going to feel heavy. So let's start with the knee bent and just pull the knee up toward you. And try to do this without leaning back and also without bending your left leg. Because of course, if you get your knee higher, you do all those things, but that's not the pose. So left leg straight, shoulders over hips, pause. Let's reach down for the big toe, first two fingers and thumbs. And just like in your Urdhva Dhanurasana D, there's this tension. Let's just extend the leg out from the hip, just straight forward, not any higher really than the hip. And start to bend your elbow. Fold in, just like you did when your foot was on something. You still have your left hand. It could stay on your hip or it could poke around in your belly, just like you did when your foot was on something. So this is a very bandha intensive pose. To create the rounding in the back, very much a function of the strength of the front. Okay, Let's rise up and just let it go. We'll try the other side, shake it out. Ooh, my standing leg is tired from what we just did. Well, let's place our left hand on the left shin and just pull the knee in. This will just help kind of set the stage, get that right leg straight and kind of on point, get that left hip cooperating. Okay, so when we're ready, we'll reach down. And to reach down, you are going to round forward a little bit already. Otherwise, maybe the grip is not going to be achievable. If you can't get your left leg straight, you could just have it bent a little bit because the tension will be nice there between your hand and foot. You could use a strap as well. And we'll try to fold forward so that our torso comes down to meet the leg, which is at about hip height. And let's slowly get out of there, let that go. And we will do another form of that same pose in a few minutes. Let's come to the top of the mat. And whenever you get there, inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway up. And just take your vinyasa or step back. Let's meet in downward dog. Right leg pigeon. Left leg this time, if possible, vajrasana grip. So the left hand will come to the inside of the left foot. I have a shoulder thing, so maybe I'm not going to do vajrasana grip. I'll show you on the other side, and then I will do something else with my hand. So we'll reach for the inside of the foot. We'll pull the foot in close, and as the foot gets close enough, the elbow will lift up. If the foot doesn't get close enough, the elbow won't have a chance to lift, the shoulder can't rotate, so then you'll just take a different grip until one day the thigh opens enough. We'll take a few breaths here, dealing with the left quadriceps, because split is really a function of your flexibility of your back legs, quads, and your front legs, hamstrings. Okay, let's get out of there and just change sides. Same thing, whatever it is you did. I have an injury that only affects one side, so I'm going to do something different. I'm going to do it facing the camera. Lisa, you could probably get your foot a little closer to your hip. It's fun like that, right? Okay. Good. And let's slowly get out of there. And just step back, vinyasa or downward dog. When you get to down dog, we'll walk our hands back to our feet. We're going to reach our arms around the outside of our legs. You can bend the knees for this. And across through the legs, across the wrists, and hold opposite shin. So right hand is on left shin, left hand is on right shin. And we'll try to straighten the legs again once we get that grip. Basically, you're in a pancake. The more you can distribute your weight and your feet, the easier it's going to be to get your legs straight. If your weight is hanging out in the heel, it's going to be real hard to get your legs straight. Take 2 more breaths. You draw your belly in, you'll create a little more space. Okay, let's slowly release. And just walk into downward dog again. We're going to attempt our same little Pincha mayurasana scissor legs that we've already done twice. If you have had enough of such things, you can do it from a headstand, maybe this one with the interlaced fingers, or maybe Utthita Hasta A with the palms flat. So whichever you choose, the point really is how can your top leg be really strong, enough to get you up. And then you just switch, which is that leg. And there's that moment where the power is transferred. Good. So whenever you've tried both sides, come on down. Carol, did you do both sides? Okay. Good. Let's meet in downward dog. I'm thinking how I want to do this. Okay. We're going to come into a side plank. You can choose either hand to go first. Just a nice normal side plank with an option to make it not normal. When you're ready, you'll hold your knee, your top knee with your top hand, pull it in toward your armpit, or you'll hold your big toe and kick the foot up toward the ceiling. And we'll just take a few breaths there. Good. Then slowly release and just try the other side. And the trick really is keeping your hips high. It is so much easier to do all of these things if your hips are either at midline or up more than. Carol, let's take the big toe. Why not? Hips up, Miss Bloom. Yes. Good. And we'll slowly get out of there. And let's just vinyasa. When you get to downward dog, just relax for a sec. Okay. Somehow get your feet toward your hands. You can walk forward or back. And we'll just stand up. So we'll come into another form of Utthita Hasta Padangustasana. Some schools of yoga, or of Asana specifically, have it how we did it before, where our leg was level with the hip. But other ones, we lift the leg higher. So now we'll try to lift the leg higher. So let's start the same way we did. Hands to the right hand to the right shin. Then reach down for either big toe or edge of foot. And try to extend the leg where the knee doesn't move. So you already had your knee pretty high. Now you just kind of develop out your shin bone. The arm muscle, that right arm, the bicep's going to help you very much hold the leg up. We'll start to fold forward. The leg strength will help you also. So it's not just your arm. The leg is working to keep itself there. Okay, let's straighten the arm, lift the head, and just release your grip, lower the foot. In a few moments, we'll do it the full one where we go A, B, and then pull the leg out. Shake it out. Okay, left side, hand to shin. Pull the knee up. So see where your thigh bone is here. We're going to attempt to keep the thigh bone there. It's a whole difficult thing, but it's a good mind game. So our knee is there, and we'll start to extend the shin up and out as best we can. Roll that left shoulder back. So it's not only your arm helping you, it's your upper back muscles. And we start to fold forward using that same core thing that you did when your leg was on your kitchen counter or your cat condo. Okay, we'll slowly come on up and let it go. Okay, flying pigeon. Right ankle to lower left thigh. Hands to prayer. And either stay here and try to bring your right elbow to the inner knee, or twist, bring your elbow to your arch. Right elbow to right arch. Or right tricep, or right armpit. Okay, let's slowly unravel. And we'll just try the other side. Left ankle to the lower thigh. We bend the right knee and form a table. You could even put your butt against the wall here if you feel not balanced. And we'll start to twist. If you twisted on side one. And really, you should feel something in your left hip. That is the goal of this pose. Akin to pigeon. Our flying pigeon is very wiggly. Let's slowly unravel. We'll rise up. And we'll make our way to downward dog. Urdhva Vinyasa or not is your business. Before we come into Utthita Hasta Padangustasana A and B together, we're going to go for Goofy Headstand. So from down dog, we'll bring our right knee between the hands, centered on the mat. And we'll bring our left leg behind it so the thighs are connected, the knees close together, and the feet close together. And if it's not comfortable for you to sit on your feet, I'll turn this way so you can see what the feet are doing. If this is not comfy, which it's not really, you could sit on a block and put your feet out to the side. And then they're not underneath your butt. Your block would be under your butt or just the ground. So choose one of those ways to be. And the goal here is really to squeeze the thighs together to help with your balance and to find Mula Bandha. Let's turn it into B position. Left arm rolls forward and comes behind the back. Fingers up the shoulder blades. Right arm will come up and over. Press the head back. Lift the chin slightly. Now draw the belly in so you're not in a huge back bend. Real tempting to back bend here. Makes the arm position easier. Good. Let's slowly get out of there. And we'll just change sides. I think it's easiest to step to downward dog to change, but you don't have to do it that way. Somehow we just need our left leg on top. And as I bring that right leg in, I lean forward quite a bit so the thigh flesh can kind of work itself out. So we take some breaths here to get comfortable enough. And start to discern what is pain, what is discomfort, what is anxiety. Okay, into B position with the arms. So now the right shoulder rolls forward, so our right elbow can bend down to the floor. Left arm will come up and over, so the left elbow points up. Last breath here, and then we're going to just meet in downward dog. You can make any game plan to get out of there. Some people do like a tripod headstand and a chaturanga out of there. It's fine. It's all choreography to keep you focused. Okay, let's bring the feet forward or the hands back and somehow come up to standing. So we'll go for Utthita Hasta A, B, front, lift higher, hold it out, and then down. So the kind of the whole Asana sequence, which is great fun. Either start the way we did or arm out, lift the leg up to find your hand. And once you're there, lift the leg as high as you want and bring the head down towards your leg and breathe. Next inhale, we'll lift the head, straighten the arm, and bring the leg out to the side. Gaze to the left if you can. And you're pushing the toe and the ball of the foot out to the right. Which is helping you get your legs straight. It's also helping you get your connection with the hand. Okay, let's bring the leg to center. We'll lift the leg higher and drop the head toward the shin just for one breath. Then we'll lift the head, leave the leg where it is, point the toes, hands to the hips. So a lot of legs straight. Try not to lean back. 3, 2, and 1. Lower it down. Whew, that's hard. Other side. The good news is it never gets easier. Okay, left leg comes up. Somehow we grab hold. Either big toe or pinky toe edge of foot would be fine. Or the strap. Lift the leg and fold. Lisa, right leg straighter. Good. Let's bring the head and shoulders up. Left leg out to the left. Bring the leg forward again. We'll attempt to lift it higher so our head can touch our knee. And then we'll leave it floating. Sometimes I bring my hands under the thigh first. Oh Lordy. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Shake it out. Dang, that pose is hard. Okay. Let's meet in downward dog. However you want to get there. Okay, let's rock forward to plank and lower down to the belly. Shalabhasana A. Arms by our sides, knuckles down, chest and shoulders up, and if you can, legs up. And I'm trying to lift my legs pretty high, but it looks like they are not lifting. It feels like they're lifting. Take one more breath. And let's come on down. Rest for a moment. Okay, let's turn it into Sphinx. So forearms parallel, shoulders roll back. Let's curl the toes and hoist the hips up so it becomes a forearm plank. Now while we're here, we're going to think of two things mostly. One is going to be belly in. The other is going to be tailbone toward feet. Okay, let's walk the feet in toward our elbows. This is just going to help us not get too stuck in the back bend, because now we're in a forward bend essentially. And straighten the arms. And we'll meet again on our bellies. However you want to get there is a good way. And we'll go for Shalabhasana B. So the hands will line up roughly with the chest or the ribs, and we'll lift them. Let's squeeze the legs together if you can. Point the toes, reach the big toes back. Push the pubic bone down. Good. And come on down, rest for a moment. As you're resting here, lift your belly up a bit so you just feel like it's not quite so glued to the ground. And let's meet again in our Sphinx. This is another place where we can practice drawing the belly in. There's like a tangible position here. If I relax, my belly button is completely on the mat. But if I try to draw the belly in, I can feel the attempt of getting it off the mat. Okay, to forearm plank. Hips up. You could always put your knees down if you want a little more assistance. Walk the feet in so that you find your counter stretch to the back bend. And as in a moment, we're going to straighten our arms to normal down dog. As you're doing that, push your fingertips more firmly into the floor so your armpits go closer to your legs. Then your elbows can get light and you can get your right and left arms to straighten at the same time. If your shoulders are really tight, that might not be possible, but over time, it's easier. Okay, let's meet on the belly again. This time, Shalabhasana C. It will be our last Shalabhasana. We'll interlace the fingers behind the back. Lift the chest and shoulders and reach our knuckles toward our feet. Okay, and slowly release. Belly in. Make your way to Sphinx. Play with that belly in concept even there. Glue your thumbs down and lift your hips up. And then the next few breaths, as we walk our feet in for down dog B, and as we straighten the arms, your thumbs are not going to move at all, ideally. Let's start to walk the feet in. Your butt will lift up. It's going to be more difficult to keep your thumbs down, so just do your best. Press your chest and armpits toward your legs and straighten your arms, downward dog. Okay, let's come to kneeling, Virasana. So knees down, feet out, and we'll sit between the feet. And we'll attempt to lay back. There might be a point at which you do not want to go any further back. Quite logical to choose to stay a little more upright. Wherever you wind up, try to press your knees down and toward one another. Try to tuck the lowest rib in a bit. Okay, and let's start to rise up. Oh, that was great fun. So let's do a little kind of prep thing for Laghu vajrasana. So we're just going to bring our hands back to be really supportive. And as we peel our butt off the floor, we're going to press the pubic bone up. And we'll let our thighs roll in again and we'll lower our butt down. And just do this a few times. Pubic bone up. Notice how you're pressing into your feet. Your quads are working like mad. Good. So one of the things I see often in Laghu vajrasana is folks get back, and then when they want to return to upright, they lose this hip up position. And they wind up doing what we're doing now, which is lowering to the butt. So I just wanted you to feel kind of the difference of action. When you're in Laghu, the lowering piece of what we just did does not happen. So let's stand on the shins and we'll try it for real. You don't have to go all the way down, of course, but as you are coming down, you're still reaching your pubic bone up. Even if you get your head all the way to the floor, there's no point where you let your hips come down. It's always pushing forward. So much so that you might fling yourself across the room. Which really just means there's no moment you can rest in this pose. But it's not that long of a pose, really. It's not like You know, TT Vasana is like freaking forever. This is not like that. Good breath, Carol. She's bracing herself. Good. And for a really long time, this pose made me feel physically ill because of all the throat opening. I'm a New Yorker. We're not used to being open like that. And I wanted to throw up literally every time. So let's meet in downward dog. We will try that again in a few minutes. But let's just counter ourselves. Okay. So we're going to attempt a Pincha mayurasana with a split leg, and then the other way split leg. So like what you did before, but staying with the idea of a split. Of course, we won't know if we're in a split because we're upside down. But we will know what it feels like, and that will be good enough. So we'll come up, and I'm going to think of reaching one leg back and the other leg forward. And I'm looking sort of between my thumbs. And then when you're ready for the other side, they have to kind of switch the way you switched before. Ooh, that was fun. So earlier we were just talking about the top leg being really strong. Now that's going to be the back leg, the leg that's reaching into your back bend. Nice, Janet. Carol, you might be a little close to the wall. Because if the top leg is bent in order to touch the wall, you got to back up a little bit. Good. So make sure you try both sides. There's going to be one that you like much better than the other. This is natural. Carol, point your toes. You'll get like a little extra oomph. Okay, we'll try that again in a little bit. Let's go back to Laghu vajrasana because we loved it so much. So Laghu is after Ustrasana in second series. But it's harder in some ways, but not in others. So in Ustrasana, what's really hard is keeping your hips over your knees. But in Laghu, your hips get to go back. So in that way, it's a bit easier. So maybe use that bit of backward as a freedom so that you can let your head come a little bit lower. It's not that different stretch-wise for your quads as your Supta Virasana. The hard part is getting up by pushing your feet down and your pelvis up. So getting down, I don't know, after maybe 3 months of trying it, you can get down. But you need another year to be able to get up. So try it one more time. And if it's not to your liking, maybe it hurts your knees or something, you could do any other back bend, or you could stretch with Virasana. Good. Lisa, think about your pinky toes. You can go a little further. Una vez más. You could probably touch all the way down. Okay. Good. Let's get out of there. We'll just meet in downward dog. Counter ourselves for a moment. All right. So let's step our right foot forward a bit. It doesn't have to go all the way forward. We're going to launch our left leg off the ground and bend the knee. Hold the left foot with the right hand. Start to kick your left leg up, like your toes want to touch the ceiling. And in a way, this will resemble your splits. And in a way, it will resemble like a Dhanurasana. Take 2 more breaths. We're going to keep the leg lifted. Just release your right fingers down. Bend both knees, and we'll find our Ardha Chandrasana position. Our left knee will land outside of the right foot, and we'll have a seat. We'll twist to the right and hug that left knee to, no, that's the right knee, sorry. Hug the right knee to the left shoulder, or hook the elbow, or reach for your foot. Let's untwist. Our right sole of foot is still on the floor. We're going to just rock forward so that we can stand on it again. This time, open the hips, reach your left hand for your left foot. So instead of that opposite grip, it's our Ardha Chandra Chapasana. And now we can kick our heel away from our butt, and it even more resembles a Dhanurasana. Okay, let's slowly unwind. We'll just lower the left foot, lift the right leg. Bend the right knee, find the foot with the left hand, and kick. If it's too much for your left leg, you could put your right hand up on something, the couch or a book, so that you don't have to be quite so much in this standing split position. Okay, let's slowly get out of there. Bend the knees so that your right knee lands outside of your left foot. And the left foot is not going to move. It is your anchor for your Ardha Chandrasana. Or hook. My cat is so cute right now. She's very relaxed. And her tongue is sticking out. She's all black. So all I can see is a sheet of black with a teeny little pink thing. Okay, let's slowly untwist. We're going to stand on that left foot again. Starting in that Ardha Chandrasana shape, we have our hips facing the long edge of the mat. And when we can, reach for the foot, kick your heel away from your butt, let it take your right shoulder with you. That means you got to get your left hip more underneath you, just like we deal with in a triangle position. Okay, and let's slowly unwind, lower the foot, inhale, and just step into downward dog for your exhale. Okay. Let's come on to the shins again, the knees again, for camel, Ustrasana. If you have a wall handy, it is very nice to put yourself flush against the wall. Because in Laghu, we let the hips come back, but in Ustrasana, we don't, or we try not to. Of course, then I see the footage and I'm like, dang, my hips went really far back. But that's because I'm tight here. So do what I say, not what I do. So when you can, you reach your hands for your heels. And you keep pushing your hips forward, even though your shoulders have gone back, your head has gone back. Hips forward. Let's rise up and just rest, either kneeling or child's pose or downward dog. We are going to do that one more time. I have a friend who studies Meridian Yoga in New York, and they hold Ustrasana for 5 minutes. Can you believe it? Let's go into it one more time for 5 breaths. So you can also curl your toes under if that makes it easier to hold your heels. Just count your breaths. Part of that mind game is making sure that it's happening. Whenever you're done, you take your rest again in kneeling, child's pose, or down dog. You feel my heartbeat in my throat. All right, so let's come around onto our backs. And we're just gonna do a few little Pilates bridge things before we go into Urdhva Dhanurasanas, just to make our glutes fire up. So move your ponytail and your bun. And let's just press our spine down into the floor. And you'll feel like your pubic bone has risen a bit. Let's start to peel our hips up, then peel your mid back up, and try to make a straight line from your shoulders to your knees. So we're not really poofed up in the chest here. And then we'll roll down again, one vertebra at a time coming to the floor. There's different schools of yoga about, do you lower one vertebra at a time, or do you lower your sitting bones down for back bend? Let's peel up again. So press your spine down, start to lift your hips. It's like your pubic bone is the initiator of rising, just to the point where you're a straight line. Take a breath there. Don't let the knees sway. And then start to roll down again. So right now, since we're not actually in like a full back bend, we don't really need to think about that discussion of how do we lower down, because we're doing this in a core way instead. Let's do this one more time. Peel yourself up. So we're just developing some control with our abdominals, with our glutes. And start to roll down. So you should feel your outer glutes pretty much awake. A little bit on fire, not too bad, manageable. Okay. Let's attempt, I don't know if this will work. We're gonna bring our feet all the way together, lift one leg up, and then attempt the same thing, but with only the assistance of one leg, which means one butt cheek. So we'll press our spine down and we'll try to peel ourselves up off the ground. And you'll feel how much work that leg has to do. So otherwise, it's the same as what we already did. We're just trying to get shoulder, hip, knee in a straight line. And then start to peel yourself down. The belly draws in, and it's quite powerful with only one leg up. You can really feel the belly working. Let's try the other side. When you're ready, smush your spine into the floor. Start to peel yourself up. Push the sole of the foot down. Don't let the knees splay out. And start to come down one vertebra at a time. You'll really feel that Uddiyana Bandha work. Okay. So theoretically, that will make your Urdhva Dhanurasana a little bit easier. Let's try. And if you don't want Urdhva, you can keep your shoulders on the floor and go for Setu Bandha Sarvangasa. Stay for 5 breaths wherever you've chosen. One of the reasons I love Mysore is that you're responsible for your own breath count. There is no waiting for someone to tell you that 5 is over. Whenever you've gotten to 5, then come on down and take a breath to rest. And we'll only rest for 1 breath, and then we'll come up again for another 5. And we're just going to do that 3 times, the pattern of 5 up, 1 down. This is the second time. So you're almost done. If you're in Urdhva Dhanurasana, when you do come down, tuck your chin and try to land on your shoulders so there's no weird neck stuff going on. Total of 3. Nice. So when you are done, we're going to meet in downward dog. So just somehow roll over and flip yourself. We'll either go into headstand for about 10 breaths, which would be the interlaced finger version, or scorpion, which is Pincha mayurasana with a little extra back bend. You decide what's best for you. And either way, there is a reach of your feet. You've probably done about 6 breaths. So you could start to think about your exit strategy. There's many ways to get out of everything. Just do one that suits you. And in like 10 seconds or so, 20 seconds, we'll just meet in a downward dog again. Carol, for you, let's come out through straddle like we did yesterday. Go real slow at the bottom. Good. Okay. So when we find our down dog, just take a breath there. And our last pose will, well, altogether, our last pose will be a Padangustasana. So from dog, we'll walk hands to feet. Turn the palms to face up, slide them under the feet. Inhale. And fold forward any amount, exhale. You might need your knees bent for this. Not a big deal. It's really nice for your wrists to receive this counter stretch to all your plank types of things, all your chaturanga types of things. Also here you can naturally get your belly to draw in, so you get a little extra back stretch. Okay, and let's release the grip. You can either squat there, you can walk into downward dog, however you want to get your butt down to the floor, do that. And let's find our Baddha Konasana as our last pose. I said the other one was the last pose, but then my body was like, no, you gotta do Baddha Konasana. So we'll open our feet like a book and fold forward. And whenever you're ready, just let that go or do some last thing. Take rest. Gurudev Namo. Om Namo. Gurudev Namo. Gurudev, 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 Gurudev Namo. Om Namo. Gurudev Namo. Om Namo. Gurudev Namo. Gurudev, 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 Gurudev Namo. Gurudev Namo. Om Namo. Gurudev Namo. Take a few more breaths. With very minimal effort, somehow sit up. Let's bring the left hand to the chest, right hand on top. Let's take a big breath in. Exhale through the mouth. Bring the hands together with the thumbs between the brows. Try to relax the eyes, not just the eyebrows and the face, but actually the eyeballs. There's nowhere you need to look. There's no straining required. Let's fold forward. Namaste.